Saying?
Yeah,
you're saying my word ghost?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope. No way.
Do you really want to give him that kind of power?
You don't want to give him any kind of power. He'll just run away with it.
We're starting?
He'll just run on us.
I don't believe you! Anyway, we are Senpai and Simon with our glasses, and this is Video Game Gems. I'm Justin.
I'm Richard. I'm Matt.
And this is where we're going to talk about games that are really good that hopefully you haven't played and that you will go out and buy and or find and play. So, without further ado.
Yay! Alright. So,
you gotta ask them so we can give out candy.
Alright, so how many of you have heard of Critter Crunch?
Not heard of, played. Played.
Or heard of, or
we have a limited amount of candy.
Oh, so we're changing the game to play.
Yeah, we actually
we gotta change the game.
How many have...
We're changing the game.
We're changing the game, son. Anyway, how many of you heard of Critter Crunch? Yes?
Cool. I'll forfeit because we talked about it yesterday.
Oh,
right.
It's true. Because we talk about it at every panel.
He's gonna laugh at this.
So we're just gonna sit here and watch this trailer, and then we'll begin talking
This is
about
why we bought this game, this trailer.
This is the trailer that's over.
Yes!
This is basically our mascot.
Yeah.
This game's pretty cool too.
Grab up your peanut butter.
Yep.
Well, now once you get that meter up, then you can feed your children.
Yes. Well, basically, the point of the game is you play a father who has many, many children that look just like him. And you have to feed them with your amazing rainbow vomit. And through this, you're basically playing like this kind of puzzle type game. So they're going to constantly keep coming down on you, all these kind of bigger bugs. And you basically have to go, smaller bug you feed to a bigger bug, and then that bigger bug you can feed to an even larger bug. And there's a very actually like kind of cool combo system you can do, where it normally takes like 2 flies to make the medium bug explode. Or you can use 2 medium bugs to make the big bug explode. Or you can do things like a small bug and then feed it to a big bug, and then it'll make that explode. So there's some very interesting kind of combos that you can do, and that's what the game's built on. And most of the fun really comes from when you fill up the meter, a kid will run across the screen, and you actually have to like balance doing the combos and run across to the side and just start vomiting and feeding them. And this gives you massive bonus points, and that's kind of an important point of the game.
There's a trophy called World's Greatest Dad.
World's Greatest Dad.
Which is you vomit and...
You have to feed all your kids.
On each stage.
On each stage. Because every stage is different. They also have a lot of extra modes. There's a puzzle mode, which is, can you solve, they won't be moving anymore, but it'll be, can you solve something like 5 moves or 6 moves? And then there's a challenge mode, which is normally, it condenses it to only 3 rows, and moves at a much quicker rate, but you only need to last for a couple minutes. But
that's challenging.
That is Critter Crunch, and it is a fantastic game. It's on PlayStation Network, and now it's on iPhone, I believe.
Still hasn't got an Xbox release.
It's not an Xbox, but it's on the iPhones and the PlayStation Networks.
Yeah. The Poly Stations.
On the Poly Stations.
Alright, how many of you play D&D? Awesome. I'll pause it. I just spoiled it.
Yeah.
So, how many of you have played anything from 2nd edition or AD&D? Okay. Have you played the Planescape setting? No. Okay. The Planescape setting is one of my favorite settings from D&D, and then in 1999 they made a game based off of this setting called Planescape Torment. In this clip, they're actually doing a spell called Mechanist Cannon. This game bases in a city filled with portals, and this is the abuse of the portals that really come across in the game's flavor. So you take this giant cannon and shoot him through a portal. And this poor fellow is going to have a portal appear right next to him. And there you go.
That was only 64 damage, by the way.
Okay, okay, that's how much health he had. That's the max amount of damage they can take. So it doesn't go wrong. So this game is very much like a lot of other D&D games that came out, at the time and later, where you have your stats and you adjust them, you get different gear and you get different things and your choice. But the biggest thing is that your choices that you make, and man, I'm thinking just covering the thing. the choices that you make, as well for what you want to do, as well as the dialogue choices that you make when you talk to people, greatly affect the things that you can do later, your character's alignment, and a bunch of other things. So, this game is very dialogue-based. And when this game starts out, you wake up, you're on a slab in a mortuary. There's a flying talking skull talking to you. And he's like your bro, and you have no idea who he is. You have a bunch of tattoos on your back, and your journal has all the pages ripped out. And you have no idea who you are. And so you go through this story known as the Nameless One, because you don't know your name. And you, through the course of this, you come across, what was I? Who was I? Oh, you have a tattoo that says "Talk to Faerod." So that's what you do.
You go find Faerod.
You go find Faerod. But the game is you trying to figure out, who you are, and the things that you've done, and you soon find out that when you die, you don't die. You fall unconscious, and people think you're dead, but you wake up back on the mortuary slab. So this is a game about finding out really who you are, as well as exploring the Planescape setting, which is something that I really do enjoy, is this setting. And I do a campaign at our school, and these two people are in it. And it's a lot of fun, I think, because the Planescape setting is
wacky.
Planescape is about belief and really doing things that you believe in. Because in the Planescape setting, if you believe hard enough, or if enough people believe, it actually happens. So, and in this, one of the main themes is Can Man Change, and this question comes up a lot. This game has been widely renowned and has gotten many awards, and it's pretty much a cult classic. So it came out in '99, so you can't really get a new copy, but it is on GOG, for like $8.
Yeah.
So
$7.99 something.
So you can get it there. Yeah. Great game.
I was gonna say that reminds me of Boulder Skate and Boulder Skate 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn down the volume for this one.
Yeah, good plan. So who's a fan of treasure games?
Like Games with Treasure, or
Games-
done
no,
by the studio
Games done by the studio.
Games by the Studio
I like
Treasure.
Games by the Studio Treasure.
So yeah, for the rest of you, Treasure's known for doing games that they wanted to do, and that not necessarily anyone else really wanted until they saw it and they're like, oh my god, I want this. And Bangai-O is one of those games. It was originally for the N64, and it wasn't as good, but then it got a Dreamcast port, and it is awesome-tacular in like every sense of the word. You play in a giant robot, although it's not apparent by the fact that you're tiny on the stage, but it is supposed to be a giant robot. And you go around shooting things, and then you do that. And doing that's a blast. That burst, you have 5 gauges for it down at the bottom there. And you can, the closer you are to more projectiles, the more you get. So normally if you just do it with nothing around, you get 40. But if you're near a bunch of bullets, then you get to like 400. And it just destroys the Dreamcast, and it's great. And the whole game is balanced around that, so you always want to do what I'm doing here, getting as close as you can to a bunch of bullets, and then just like letting loose. And it just makes the game so much fun because you just kind of throw strategy to the wind and just like press R and then win. Yeah, and that's Bangai-O. They made some other. It also got ported to. It also got more re-releases for the DS called Bangai-O Spirits. And it's on the Xbox Live Arcade called Bangai-O something else, and neither of them I think were really as good.
I will also test this. The 361 I always could not sit through.
Yeah,
like the original.
Yeah, none of them were as good as the Dreamcast one. So that would be your best bet if you wanted to track this game down. But good luck, because I believe Treasure had really limited, print runs of their games. But yeah, that's Bangai-O. It is a blast.
So I guess I'll go next. So how many of you have played this game?
Henry Hatsworth is probably Luke, you don't count. We never count you, Luke, so you can stop raising your hand.
Anyway, so this is called Henry Hatsworth, and this is a puzzle game and a platformer game for the DS. It's a puzzler, whatever you want to call that mix. But what makes this game interesting is the top screen is all platforming. So you're playing as Henry Hatsworth, who is quite a gentleman, who British accent.
You see that monocle and mustache?
You know he's fancy. But on the bottom, if you take notice of this, there's a giant grid. And what you're going to notice here is every time you kill the enemy, they drop down into this grid. And in a little bit, he's going to start activating this grid, and you're going to see it turn into Tetris Attack, if anybody's ever played that. So basically, you can move, like, reshape duties, and try to get 3 in a row so they blow up. And right here is where you're going to see it. And by doing this, you get yourself power-ups, and you permanently kill the enemies so they can no longer respawn. So it's this kind of mix between platforming. There's a really solid platformer by itself, with this kind of Tetris attack in between that really helps you out, no matter how you do it, if you were choosing to just kill enemies permanently with it, or if you want to get power-ups. It's like every now and then you'll see like lives show up in the middle, then if you finish that out, you'll get a life. So it's actually a really solid platformer. It's got a really good difficulty scale in terms of platformers. So it doesn't just start out really hard or immediately get that really hard, but just kind of builds you up very slowly. And it's got a lot of things that good platformers just don't have these days, I think. Well, that's going to be it for Henry Hatsworth. But as for DS, if you guys can actually find it, it's actually not a very expensive game. It's going to be like $5 if you can find it on Jamestown or something. Also, the soundtrack is really good, and it's free on their website if you actually ever want it.
Okay, how many of you played a game called, it came out actually recently, how many of you played a game that came out in 2011 called El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron? Good, okay, play it. This game is the sacrilegious game of the year in 2011.
I think Binding of Isaac is still good up there.
Yeah,
Binding of Isaac is way up there.
Binding of Isaac, though, is just for every religion. This is just for Christianity, though.
Yeah.
This guy is called Lucifer. It's a reference to Lucifer, but this is before he's fallen from heaven. And in this game, you're going to play as a guy. How many know the story of Noah's Ark? So God wants to flood the earth because there is a bunch of evil on it. It's said in the Bible that it's the Nephilim. So Enoch, who has been by this time taken by God, and just straight up to heaven without dying, says, "You know what? Why don't we, instead of you flooding the earth, I'll go down to earth and I'll retrieve all these fallen angels and bring them back up to heaven for you to punish. And how about we do that instead?" And God's like, "All right, I'll let you do this." So you're going to play as Enoch, going to retrieve these fallen angels. And this game plays like an action game, like Devil May Cry, God of War type. It's by an Ignition studio who does that a lot. This is just an opening sequence where you see his armor. This game is very visual. And it's very interesting that when you play through, you'll notice that each section is completely different. And each section does not reuse any art assets. So you have this really beautiful looking game that doesn't reuse anything from the previous level. So like in one level, you're actually riding a motorcycle. And in another level, it's just this like little black goo that you're walking through, as opposed to this technologically advanced one that has the motorcycle. And I personally really like this because I actually really like a lot of Christian mythos and stuff like that, so that's why I really enjoyed playing this. And this game is a trip at 4 in the morning, let me tell you. Like at 4 in the morning, I was on Skype, and then I was like, "Oh my god, I'm riding a motorcycle! This game's amazing!" And there's people in the Skype call that were like, "What the hell are you playing?" So you're actually going to see, and the jeans. So you see those jeans that he's wearing? So Lucifer gives you these really cool pair of jeans. And these jeans are so cool, they actually decided to sell them in Japan at $200 a pop. And they sold out. And this is what gameplay looks like. And if you notice, there's no health bar. And to increase the aesthetic value, what they do is to represent your health, you have armor there. And the more damage you've taken, the less armor you're actually wearing. So it becomes really like a homoerotic game when you're fighting this other dude and you're beating each other up until all your clothes fall off. And Lucifer is a trip the whole time. He's talking to God on his cell phone and updating on your progress. And that's how you talk. That's how you save the game. You talk to Lucifer and he talks to God to save your game. So that, in a nutshell, is Al Shaddai, such as Metatron. It's $20, I think, in GameStop right now.
It's definitely dropped in price a lot.
So it's a good game to pick up. It's worth it. It's very simple. It's short. It even does like the Kojima-esque thing, where like Lucifer like looks at you from on the screen. It's like, if you're good, this will take you about 7 hours, like right at the beginning. And there's only 3 different weapons in the game, and you get them all from enemies. Then you purify them and use them, and that's it. Yeah. PS3, Xbox 360.
So they might even say PS360.
PS360.
But that is that.
So this game, anyone else play Dragon Warrior? Any of them? Alright, this is a Game Boy spin-off that was released.
Oh, wait, he played a Dragon Warrior game? Here, you can have candy.
Oh, yes.
Close enough.
Somebody raised their hand for something.
So this is a Game Boy Color spin-off released in Whateversville, and it is called Dragon Warrior Monsters. It was made to cash in on the Pokemon craze. It was admittedly made to cash in on Pokemon, but it actually ends up being really good in its own rights. This is just footage of me going through one of the dungeons, and it looks kind of slow. I'll admit that some of it can be. But what makes it interesting is there's actually a really complex monster breeding system. When you breed monsters together, and then they fuse, and then they can learn all the skills that their parents had. They have bonuses to their stats based on like their parents. There's really complex breeding trees. There's 10 families of monsters, like slimes, materials, birds, beasts, dragons.
Nothing like a fire-breathing slime.
Nothing like a fire-breathing slime. And there's like 20 to 30 monsters in each family, and it makes for about 300 monsters overall, and it gets really complicated and it's really fun because you can really work the game in a lot of ways, and it's a blast to do so. The plot is you're this guy named Terry, and your sister gets abducted by this magical goofy thing and taken into the dresser. And then another magical goofy thing, only this time it's a good guy. He comes in, he's like, "Yo, you gotta fight for us. You gotta fight for the Kingdom of Great Tree." And so you go and you raise monsters and you fight for the Kingdom of Great Tree to try to find your sister. And it's really cool. Most of the game is going through these dungeons, and then there's tournaments that you enter. And the one last thing about the game is that you don't command your monsters. They have their own AI that fights, and it's actually pretty good about it. And it's what makes things interesting in the tournaments is that you only have your three monsters and how well trained they are with their skill set. So that's Dragon Warrior Monsters. Yeah, I don't even know if you can find it anymore except to emulate, but it's a lot of fun.
It's for Game Boy Color. If you go to like a mom and pop video game shop, there's a really good chance they'll have it. There's also a couple sequels to the game. There's Dragon Warrior Monster 2. There was 2 versions of that, and now they have the 2 Joker games now.
Yeah.
So
I think this one's probably the best.
the first one is a lot better than 2 and Joker. I haven't played Joker 2 to tell you, but yeah. All in all, I think 2 is still a really good game if you can't get this one.
Yeah.
So how many of you guys have heard of a game called Metal Walker? Okay.
That's good. That means we get to tell you about it.
Yeah, we can tell you about Metal Walker. So Metal Walker is kind of along the same lines of like it was RPG kind of marketing off Pokemon, but definitely in a very more weird way. Basically, this is a post-apocalyptic world. There's been basically almost like a fallout, and everything's been destroyed. Like rogue robots that basically are everywhere, and they're going rampage. And you're the son of the scientist who gives you this robot that's going to have the power to basically fix the world. And it's that little kind of like orb guy right here. And what makes this game interesting is it's RPG. He follows you around, and you can constantly upgrade him with cores. And within these cores, you can change up all his like stats, traits, and he'll actually evolve into different things. But then you can take those cores off and then go into a different tree line of evolutions. So there's like land, air, and the third tree line. I cannot remember what they called it, but it was something very silly. Oh no, it's C actually. My bad. But within those 3 tree lines, you get some very unique things. And the battle system is actually kind of like playing pool, where you aim where you want to go and you pick your power, and you bounce off the walls. And enemies have to obey this rule as well. But what makes this game really fun is that you can bounce off the walls and keep bouncing and hit the enemy. And then if you have enough power, it'll make the enemy forcibly keep bouncing, and they can hit another enemy. So you get this very unique kind of combo system of just bouncing enemies hurting each other. And that's what made the game really unique. Later it gets a bit harder. Walls become actually like electrified, so you can't bounce against all the walls. But the strategy comes into bouncing enemies into those walls. Very unique game. I thought it was actually really well done for the Game Boy Color. Again, kind of a game that'd be a little bit harder to find, definitely in a mom and pop shop. But yeah. Or no.
No.
Oh no!
Let's spoil the best one!
Oh!
Anyway, mine's a picture because you're...
Crap.
Right.
Hold on.
So, how do you guys play... Any of you guys play visual novels? Cool. Have you played a game called Senjou No Maou?
No.
Oh, okay. So, for those who don't know, visual novels are basically that. A book...
Read this.
I dislike that picture, but okay. So it's a funny line in the picture. Visual novels are basically books with pictures, and you read. It's a novel, and it's quite long. But, so in this one, it's one of the dating sim ones. There are H scenes in it, so you have to keep that in mind if you want to play it. But what makes this game really good is the story. And
I should hope so.
yeah, because in a book, if the story isn't good, it's... So, because the gameplay's solid, like when you click, it responds.
Dude,
it's got some of the tightest clicking to scroll text mechanics you've ever seen.
Dude, when you get to hardcore, high level play, they got turbo clicks, so they get through it twice as fast as the next person.
Anyway, so the main character is the adopted son of a Yakuza boss.
Oh God.
So he is going to this school where a lot of rich people usually go, and he ends up meeting this girl on the one on the left there. You guys are left and right. On the left, and this is a story about how this criminal mastermind who calls himself Mao is ruining the lives of the people who are here. The girl right there is pretty much obsessed with trying to capture him. And throughout this game is the course of learning who this person is and how he relates to everybody who's here. But this game follows a kind of different storyline than most visual novels. As opposed to having different branching routes, you have just like one main route, and then the people who aren't the main heroine have branches off on the sides. And so, if you just follow the main route, it's basically her route. And to put it simply, there's a part where you're going to hit your desk and yell objection, because it is so awesome when all these plot twists start being revealed. And the best way I can put it without actually spoiling it is if you go to, without spoiling, too much, but when you go to the visual novel database, there's a tag. They have a tag system, and this one is tagged with the tag multiple personality protagonist. And that is not as much a spoiler as you think it is, but it makes it
a huge spoiler.
No, you haven't played it. You haven't played it, man. No, about that time is being the death, but it's a really, really good game. It's not a good game. It's a good book that you should read. If you're into visual novels and you have the time to read it, I highly suggest doing this one.
So, do we want to do Jamestown next, or do we want to do?
No, we want to do.
We want to do the most American game.
So,
the most American game
that
never came overseas.
It's so American. It only has English.
It's seriously. This is the most American game ever made. It is called Metal Wolf Chaos. You play.
Chaos.
Oh my god! You play.
Just listen.
And the reason is because I'm the president of this great United States of America.
So here's how this works. You're the president of the United States, and your vice president, Richard Hawke, stages a coup d'etat. So you can't have that. He's an asshole. So you jump into the presidential mech, and you have to fight your way across the entire United States military.
I want it. Shut up and take my money.
Seriously,
It's so
I don't know.
Also, by the way, there's no Japanese like voices on it.
It's like full English, full English.
Yeah.
Now you come to save us after we betray you.
Jody, I can't turn my back on a friend. And the reason is, I'm the President of the United States.
Mr. President, don't come here. It's a trap.
Hey there, Michael. Are you still playing the hero?
Richard!
You just don't get it, do you? Freedom is dead.
Seriously, look at that.
You and your men and this symbol of freedom will all perish.
It's too awesome for words.
Just make an actual gameplay of it.
Go ahead and cock your weapon. If I direct these missiles behind me, that goddess of liberty and your cute little secretary will all be blown to smithereens.
The most American game that never came over here.
That's a real shame because it's also a really good game. It's just that, like, you really have to do work for it to play. You have to, like, find an Xbox emulator, which, well, I'm sure exists. But I haven't or you can mod your Xbox, which is kind of a pain, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost
This
forgot.
was for original Xbox.
Time for my afternoon.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
tea.
that's another thing is the original
Nothing like
Xbox.
sipping some delicious Darjeeling tea. And watching you getting your clock cleaned.
The dialogue really adds to this, actually.
Oh, it's so good.
This is one of the more silly bosses of the time.
There's a tank of SISWHG. Everything. But yeah, that's Metal Wolf Chaos. I think we can.
Stop.
I don't think we can.
I think we shouldn't have gotten the cinematic trailer or whatever. The one that's
So
like
his
7 minutes
so
long.
his name is Richard, right? So half the time I see him, I'm like, Richard!
And it always freaks me out, 'cause I'm like, what?
Oh, right. You're like, oh.
Oh, right, Metal Wolf Chaos, I love you. So I'm going to start talking about this, which is how many people have played Threads of Fate? No?
Nobody wants candy.
No one wants candy.
You
It's
know,
okay,
said you-
someone's getting candy later. We'll force it on people. So Threads of Fate by Square Enix, will force Square Enix stop liking making good games and having money and stuff. This was early on the PS1 era. What made this interesting was action RPG, where it was two storylines that were always paralleling. And so you actually get the full story, you actually want to play both characters, but you still get like a full story just by playing one. And both characters play 100% unique of each other, which is what makes the game really interesting. Rue is more of a warrior type character. He actually has an interesting ability where if he kills a monster, he's able to transform into that monster. And this is where a lot of puzzles and stuff come from.
Oh my god, this game.
So now you're possibly remembering.
I played it like once.
Okay. Cool. Did you go on that yet, or?
You should say it's good.
It was a lot of fun just because you could, oh, this monster gave me a lot of health. I'm just gonna transform it in with everything fast.
Yeah, that was what made it really interesting. So you can turn into all these different monsters. The Mint, on the other hand, she learned all this magic, and a lot of her stuff, knowing what to use the spells and how to solve all the facts. The really interesting thing is, the characters in the game are very outrageous, and the dialogue comes in from being a JRPG. When you get into town, a lot of characters have very interesting personalities. The most outrageous is there's this guy with an airship motorcycle basically outskirts the town who will constantly come out full of characters. If you visit him, you just usually have to beat him, and he really good replay value. After you beat the game, you can save your file, reload it, and you play the other character. And you unlock some more stuff by doing that. And the soundtrack by far is what I think what made it for me. Was every single area has to be soundtrack. But that's that. Just what I feel like if you played it, there's the entire.
I was gonna ask you what I liked if I played it.
Alright, his stories, he has to save a girl.
Damn straight he does.
Yeah, each of them have a different plot, which makes it interesting. Mint is selfish and she just wants ultimate magic so she can beat her sister for the crown. And Rue, right at the beginning, the girl who took him in, because he was like a wandering swordsman, was getting hurt in an accident, and he ended up saving her slightly, and her reviver to find this thing called the Duke Prison, and with that, he'll be able to revive her. So that is their plot. So that's it.
What was this called again?
Oh, Threads of Fate. It's from PlayStation 1. It's actually on PlayStation Network, I believe, now. Yeah. But it's on PlayStation Network, so you can get it for like $6 or $10. I don't know. PlayStation Network's weird with pricing, depending on how Square Enix wants to keep the money.
I'm one of the poor, depressed people that has the game system that nobody writes for.
Oh yeah. Well, like if you find it on PlayStation 1, it's probably going to be like $10 to $15.
Well, I have a PlayStation 1. I'm talking about Wii. There's like no games that I want that are actually on the Wii anymore.
Xenoblade is coming out.
Xenoblade is coming
Okay,
out.
how do you play a game called 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors?
Sounds interesting.
Okay, so 9 Hours, 9 Persons. How do you play a game called Ever 17? Man.
To be fair, if
yeah, if they didn't play 999,
yeah.
To be fair. Okay, so 999 is a story about 9 people who all get kidnapped, thrown onto a boat, and they have 9 hours to go through the door with the number marked 9 on it before the boat sinks. It's a puzzle game with a little bit of mystery to it. You're captured by a guy who calls himself Zero, and there's 8 other people. You play as number 5, his name is Junpei, and you don't really learn the names of other people because they feel that they should keep their identity secret, so they all give themselves code names, and they're talking to you. And there's a lot of math involved in this game. That's Zero, by the way. There's a lot of math involved in this game because the way you open the numbered doors, because there's doors numbered between 1 through 9 on there, so hence 9 hours, 9 versus 9 doors. So, for example, to open door number 2, you need to have all the people who press the palm lock have their digital root equal 2. And a digital root is when you add the 2 digits of the thing. So, for example, the digital root of 13 is 4. So you have people whose digital root is equal to 2 to open that door. So, for example, and you have to have at least 3 people, between 3 and 5. So, for example, if you put 3, 4, and 5, right? No, 2, 4, and 5. If you put the person is number 2, the person is number 4, and the person is number 5, when you add them together, they equal 11, right? And when 11, the digital root is 2. So they can open that door. And in each section, there's puzzles that you have to solve to open up doors that have different keys and stuff like that. Like this one, you have to do that. That's the first puzzle right there. To get out of because at first you wake up in this room and you don't see anybody, and you have to get out of this room. And you have 2 suitcases that have different combinations, but you only have like half the combination at a time. You don't know where the other half is, and you're basically trying to figure out. It's a DS game. I should probably point that out. It's
got 2 screens.
Each person has a watch on them that has a number on it, and if you for any reason try to remove that watch, a bomb that's inside you will explode. And there's a lot of things going on here, a lot of mystery. It has replay value for a lot of reasons because there's, for example, the first choices you come up to is you only play as the Junpei, which is number 5. You have the choice of going through door number 4 or door number 5 at first, and then that is a divergence like an hour into the game. So you go back and hit all the places that you didn't hit, and there's different endings based on which places you did, what things you did. You find out a lot about the people who are with you that you didn't know before. One of the persons that you're with, you actually do know. She's a girl that was from your childhood that you remember. And this game has a phenomenal ending. and a lot of jokes that are inside it that are really funny. Like, because there's no spoilers at all, I can tell you this. There's a scene where you're going into an elevator, and the bottom part of this boat is flooded, and they want to go down. And so when you ask, and the girl's with you, and so you ask, and so when you ask if she wants to go down, she's a little bit hesitant about it. And you have a choice to think. You can either think that she doesn't want to go down there because she knows it's flooded, or she doesn't want to be alone in an elevator with a boy. The second option is way funnier. And it's even funnier once you beat the game and realize something. So that is $9.99.
Yeah, it's actually getting a sequel.
It's getting a sequel called Good People Die. We don't know if it's going to get an American release yet.
I was hoping it'd be called 10-10-10.
That would be.
The sequel is, they call this game that they're doing the Nonari game, the Nonary game, just known as 9. But you can't. We don't know a lot about the sequel, other than it's another Nonari game with different people, possibly the same people.
It's supposed to be mostly new people.
Mostly, like, there's some, you're playing as somebody different. We don't know for sure if anybody that you're playing with is somebody from the old game, but they look like it. Because it's like 9 years in the future, because that'd probably be what they would do.
Yeah.
So, game is absolutely phenomenal story-wise. There's a lot of reading involved in this one too. If you know about the games that I suggest, I really love books. So,
nerd.
They ran out of printing that thing, so it's gonna be hard to find it used. They haven't had a second print.
I
just got it for Christmas for my friend off Amazon.
It's really good.
No, like
I got it for yourself.
Like Amazon probably has it, so that's what I would totally suggest.
On to Jamestown.
Oh,
for this
so
one,
I actually like that way more.
For this one, we need 2 volunteers.
We need 2 volunteers who like games and/or playing of games.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I don't care. First 2 people up here.
I gotta get
Alright.
You just volunteered for Jamestown.
You just volunteered. So we're going to need one of you to sit in a chair of some sort. Alright. And you will take this.
Awesome.
And then we'll need the other person to sit in another chair, which maybe this one.
Come on over here.
We'll sit over on this side. Take that.
And
I don't know, do we want to attempt 3 volunteers to be ballsy?
I don't know. That's pretty ballsy.
Look, stop touching that.
Gross.
Is there a third person? Do you wanna?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We're having 3 people?
We're gonna have 3 people.
Jesus.
We're gonna see how this goes.
It's gonna be terrible.
You're gonna have to carry them, Justin.
I have to carry these?
I expect you to. Well, if not, then I get to make fun of you.
That's true. Stop breaking my game.
Alright, so you're gonna get this.
Alright.
Okay.
Do I get to stare at the screen?
Either way.
Alright, you're gonna probably want to stare at this because technically there's gonna be like 2 seconds of lag possibly on that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Which will actually come in handy.
Alright.
Alright, this is a game called Jamestown. It is a Dan Maku's shmup.
It's like the twos.
It's like the twos. But you play as a ship and you shoot guys, and it's a blast.
I've actually heard of this.
Yeah, it's on Steam right now, and the best way to really describe the game is to watch people play it. Is let people play it.
Hold the this button here.
So I'm number 2.
And what makes this game interesting, apart from stuff, is one, it's got a really hilarious story that I'll get into.
So here's
once I'm
for
done
everybody. This should be,
what makes the mechanics interesting is that there's 4 different
controls. This is
really anything new.
This is
But
special.
what's interesting is the bomb is
Shut up!
Is
No, Justin,
you have a-
seriously, let him rebind the controls.
Like rebind the controls.
No.
Exactly.
The mechanics are interesting because instead of having a bomb, you have
So
what's
you
called
have
a vaunt.
fire special.
A vaunt, you have a gauge that builds
Fire
up
button
as
is
you
just
collect
basic
points
fire.
for enemies,
Special button
and
is
it fills up
to
like
the
that.
shit.
It's
What the hell is Vaunt?
not hard.
Vaunt is kind of like a bomb.
When you want a vaunt,
when you
hit
hit
the vaunt
your
button,
gauge
you have
up,
a
you'll
sphere
get it
or a circle that
Once you
goes
get up,
out
you can do it, and it'll get rid of all the bullets in a certain area. Then you'll get double damage.
and
for a
it
certain
kills
amount.
all bullets that go into that area for a few seconds. So,
making sure that
so
yours is
it
not
takes the place of the bombs get out of jail free card.
Figured out that.
Okay.
And while you're in vaunt, you also get double firepower.
And so
Well, the duration, but your vaunt gauge starts depleting, so you have to get more pickups from enemies
choose a ship.
keep it up. And then when you're in Vaunt, if you need to panic again, then you can hit Vaunt again, and you get a much smaller circle. And it's when we call it Vaunt now. I don't know what it's called.
No, it's just because we want people to have a hard
And it's really helpful, and it makes the game very different from all the stuff because you don't have to feel like you're really constrained by a resource like bombs. And then getting to the story, what makes it hilarious is that it's a retelling of the Lost Colony of Roanoke, only it's on Mars. Everything is on Mars.
So you get
so you play as this guy who avoids his captors in the Tower of London to go to the New World on Mars. And he's trying to figure out what happened to Roanoke so that, and if he can figure that out, he feels that he'll probably gain enough notoriety that he'll be able to escape jail. Player 1, start hitting.
I'm letting you. I want you to read the story, Matt.
Press buttons.
Oh.
I already explained the story. Jeez. And then there's Martians that are fighting you, and there's also the Spanish because they're dicks, like they always were in the New World.
Everybody hates the Spanish.
Everyone.
Just conquistadors.
And then you do stuff, and you play as ships, and you shoot people, and it's great. Because the gunner, that guy, that's John Smith. He is actually a real person, and it's hilarious.
Well, everyone in this technically is based on a real person.
I don't think so. I don't know. What's also cool is that each character has a primary fire and a special fire. So, for example, the yellow ship there, you can see his special fire is he drops that ghost down, and the ghost stays at a location on the screen and fires forward and back. And then the rest of the ship just has that giant sword. There's another ship in there, the green one. He's his gunner. If he presses his special fire, he moves his secondary gun around. And if he just hits primary fire, then he fires both of them, and it stays at that spot. There's the one with the barrels is gunpowder. If you press a special, it launches a barrel, and it does large damage in an area, and they slowly regrow. And they also shoot bullets themselves. And then the last one, there's Beam, which is just standard shmup shit where you just fire a giant laser beam if you want.
It's spread and Beam all in one.
Yeah. And it's just a really cool game. It's like $10 on Steam. It's got a great soundtrack that you might be able to hear over me talking and the fight stick clacking.
Yeah. It's actually, it comes bundled if you want to get it that way. I think you pay like $10 extra, you get it bundled with it. There's also DLC for it, which they're using actually 2 of the ships from the DLC.
Yeah.
But game all is really, really fun. It's really good with 4 people, I think. At least I've enjoyed it a lot more when I play with friends.
Yeah, no, it is a blast, like, all around. Now one of them pulled charge now.
Well, he's playing Fortune, which is one of the DLC ships where your ship changes every time you respawn. So that is how you get a lot of diversity out of the game. Though, possibly not always what you want in situations.
Yeah, because sometimes you pull a bomb, and the bomb is really bad. But yeah, and so we're gonna watch him finish the level. It's not a lot longer, and then we're gonna move on. And hopefully everyone will rush out and buy this game because it looks like that much fun.
That's a history lesson.
It is.
It's not a huge history lesson.
Slightly restored.
Slightly altered.
Just a little.
Holy goodness.
Yup.
There was smashing boss. Oh.
Good job, guys!
You were supposed to like carry for the win. And
I couldn't see my ship because there's like 14 of them.
Well, that wasn't what I asked you to do.
So yeah, Jamestown. Also, the best part of the game, in all of our opinions, is this.
We really enjoyed victory.
The victory ditty is amazing.
Alright, the 2 people who didn't get candy already get candy. I think you didn't get one, right?
That is correct.
And then you didn't? It's like a year ago, right?
Yep.
Alright.
Thank you very much.
No doubling up on
no
that
more candy.
Limited supplies.
We're out.
Oh,
yeah. Alright.
Huh?
And then talk about this chapter, I guess.
No, we got more. So,
yeah, we got a lot more. But this actually was next to me. So might want to do that.
Yeah. I'm going to continue pretending. I'm going to continue attempting to talk. Words are hard.
I will be.
No, it's Richard's turn next, Matt. Going out of order.
But in order is whatever. I don't care.
Kind of interjected. Jamestown was supposed to be an interjection. But anyway,
It's never supposed to be an
this game is called System Shock 2. It is an FPS RPG. Both games in the series really had some terribly unfortunate timing. The first game was released shortly after Doom, so it kind of slapped at being a Doom clone because that's what FPSs were back in the day. And this game came out just after Half-Life 1, so it also really didn't get like the attention it deserved.
Is there a pack of Marlboros?
Maybe. There's cigarettes in the game, possibly.
That's the boxes.
There's space cigarettes. You're in space.
Yep. What the plot of the game is, you're on these two ships. These are the first two ships that mankind has made that have actually made faster than light travel work. And so you go on an exploration into deep space. And then some bad shit throws down. Somebody lets on, the ship makes an expedition down to this planet, and some people get infected with this weird space parasite, and this sounds like every science fiction plot ever. And it kind of is, because the parasites have a hive mind, and they start taking over people, and they get sort of, they're called the many, and they sort of get assimilated into it. I don't know. And what makes the game fun is it's a really solid FPS RPG. Like you have a bunch of stats and skills that you can that you mess with, and it's not really terribly well balanced, but it's a lot of fun if you make sure that you have an idea of what you're doing going into it. And what also makes it really cool is memorable is one of the characters called Shaddai. Is the biggest inspiration from GLaDOS from Portal. She's an AI. From the first System Shock, actually, and she's kind of crazy. And she is one of the most memorable vocal performances in video games. There isn't a clip of her talking in this, but the way she talks is, it's sort of like the audio sort of stutters, so I don't know. It's really hard to describe, but it's extremely memorable. Plot twists, and it's a ton of fun, and it's a little hard to describe.
The other thing to mention is this is actually by the same people who did BioShock 2. So if you're wondering what, it's very, very similar to BioShock in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And the reason why is the same people. With BioShock they made a different approach and they kind of dumbed down the RPG aspect of it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people who played System Shock really felt kind of cheated out of.
A little. It was good that they did that. They could have either balanced the game better, or they could have done what they did and made it so there wasn't any way to really permanently screw up your character like there is in System Shock 2. Because as cool as the game is, about half the skills are pretty worthless, honestly. But yeah, you play like this game also is a pain to run. EA won't give it to anyone to like put anywhere, so the only way to get it is to pirate it or to like spend $1 million on a copy, and the fans of the game actually still, for whatever reason, feel that you shouldn't be pirating it, so you're not going to like get any help on that. And even if you do, there's a whole bunch of stuff you have to do to get it running. It doesn't like running on any sort of multi-processor setup. It doesn't like anything. It's really hard to get working. When you do, it's great.
It might end up eventually showing up on good old games, but
doubtful. EA hates.
EA hates.
Yep.
Why show up on Impulse?
Yeah, I think that's
Origin.
what I want to do.
Anyway, how many of you have played Noitu Love or Noitu Love 2? No? Okay. This is by actually one guy did does the art and game programming for this, and he made the first game, and it was relatively okay, the first Noitu Love. But with the second one, he went with a completely different approach, and it came out really well.
Yes.
And what makes the game interesting is you control your character with like WASD type of controls. But then you have your arrow here, and your cursor actually is what targets on enemies, and she'll immediately dash wherever you click. And based on how many times you click, she'll combo. If you hold down your mouse, So actually like charge up the charge shot, and it's like a really cool mechanic to this. And the game actually plays really, really well. Very solid platformer, and for an indie developer who just did it by himself, just one guy, it came out really, really well in terms of music, game design. And plus, I'm actually a really big fan of art style. Like, if you just look at like that captain's face up here, with this, I appreciate all the facial things he makes while he's piloting this. I don't know.
A lot of love went into this game, and it's really obvious.
Yeah. And like, if you can find it on the guy's website, I cannot remember it for the life of me. But if you Google search Noitu Love, it'll show up, and it's not very expensive. I think you like charging like $3 or $5 for it. But really, really fun, solid game. It's got a lot of replay value. After you beat it, you unlock a lot of new stuff and new content, including that character who just busted in as a playable character. What? Good game.
I'm trying. Alright,
triangle.
So there's a guy that came out. There's a game that came out. Do we want to do questions?
Oh, what time? Wait, what time is it?
1:23.
Yeah.
Well, we spent 5 minutes earlier, so we'll lose that. All right, so there's a game that came out literally a couple months ago called Rayman Origins. So how many of you guys know what Rayman is, right? This game came out recently. They took another approach. They went back to 2D as opposed to doing 3D games, and it was all in HD. And the game really shows its love. It's very similar to New Super Mario Brothers, where you have four playable people, 2 main characters, and 2 people nobody cares about. And so you have a bunch of little different moves that you can do. But what really makes this game good is that it's really just really nice to look at. You notice all the everything that you're looking at, and it's all done in HD. It all looks beautiful. It has one of the most amazing soundtracks come out this year. And the sad part is that it got overshadowed by the release of Modern Warfare 3 and Skyrim and something else that came out in that month. So people really didn't get it, and it didn't sell a lot. But a lot of sites, like even GameSpot, said this was one of the best games that nobody bought this year, along with El Shaddai, which was. But you play as Rayman, and the whole plot is some D-bag went and woke you up from your nap, so you're gonna go beat the crap out of him. And in the process, you're gonna save a lot of people, because that's what he does. And when you die, you explode like that, which is really funny. But where was I? I forgot.
Oh, Globox is hilarious.
Globox is hilarious. You can hit your partners, which is always pretty fun for multiplayer stuff. Do you get to see a level complete after this? The game has a lot of funny jokes. No, you don't. The game has a lot of funny jokes. Like for example, no, like whenever Rayman beats a level, he does this like cool pelvic thrust thing the whole time. It's really funny. So the game just has a lot of love in it from the people from Ubisoft who made this, and it's definitely worth the buy. It plays like a standard Mario platformer, where you have the open world, you have each section that you go through, you go to the next section, you go through it, you have to make sure you get so many looms in each one to get things. There's a lot of cool music that comes across, turn it up actually. That song plays when you get the big guy, which makes all the other ones work twice as much. A lot of fun. You should pick it up. It was on sale at GameStop. It's $30 now. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, cool. So you should get it.
Yeah, I really got the price.
I think that's it for all of our content, right?
We have
another round, but
questions.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
So, does anybody have any questions?
Would you consider that as memorable or more memorable than the original Rayman?
I didn't think the original Rayman was that good.
Okay.
I thought Rayman 2 was way better.
The original Rayman was good. What are you talking about?
Well, okay, it wasn't. Yeah, it definitely wasn't bad. But it wasn't. I don't think it was as good as this.
Okay.
And I thought Rayman 2 was also better. Rayman 2 was really good for those who played it. Any other questions? You guys are satisfied? You believe everything we've told you today?
You're gonna go out and buy some games, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully go out and buy some.
Now, yeah.
I'm gonna try finding that Metal Wolf game now.
That's the hardest one to get. That is the hardest one to get in that thing.
That game is just an achievement. If you get it, if you actually manage to play that game, then your life pauses for a minute and a little achievement unlocks things.
If I get it and beat it, I'll bring it in next year.
Okay.
That way you guys can try.
I will be super excited if you can do that for us.
Matt's been trying to get it to work with the kids for like a long time.
Well, I did
A
something
long
and then
time.
a long time. Yes, I've been working on modding my Xbox for a long time.
2 million millennials.
Any other questions?
Not a while.
Right.
Should we just like, I don't know.
I don't
Like,
know.
what-
Our time's up. Like,
Yeah, we could truck through the last 3. Nobody cares.
I don't know the last 3.
Wait, is there any more on this playlist? Shit.
I don't think there's any more on the playlist.
Yeah, there is.
I don't think so.
I know there's Ijji.
There is.
Oh, we didn't talk about Ijji.
Yeah, we didn't get there.
Bam.
So
we're gonna go one more indie game.
Yeah, this is another indie. This one's actually freeware though. Is the cool thing. This is a game called Ijji, and you're gonna have to forgive the horrible desync. I don't know why my but this is an indie freeware game made in 2004. It was supported. Like the guy actually was doing work on it. The last update was like 2010, so he was working on it and patching it and making it better for 6 years. And the easiest thing to say about the game is that it plays like a 2D System Shock 2. And you can tell I really like that. I bet you can probably tell that I really like that gameplay style. But it's a 2D sort of action platformer. You have down there, you can see there's a weapon bar. You can eventually get like 16 different weapons depending on your skill in the 2 weapon schools. And like there's a bunch of other stuff. There's health, there's 8 stats that are all actually useful this time around. You've also got your jump and your armor. And as you go through the game and you pick up those little blue orbs, you get a nano, that gauge here, and you can level up. And once you get enough, you level up, and you can put another point into one of your stats. And that makes the game interesting because the guy spent a lot of time designing the levels so that everything is really useful and you can do a lot of interesting cheaty face stuff. There's a lot of hidden extras in the levels. Normally you're restricted to 5 levels per. You're restricted to 5 level ups per stage, but hidden in each level is another skill point that you can find, and they're usually pretty tricky to get. There's a poster in each stage that requires some doing to get. I got it this time around, but I forgot to record the last half.
A good way to compare this is that it's got a Metroid feel to it. There's a lot of stuff in it.
That's another good comparison. And the plot of the game is really interesting. One day, like you and your brother, or your brother, and I think you have a younger sister. But your parents work in this facility, and it's a generic science facility, Science Incorporated, I guess you could call it. Well, that's also cool. You can crack into people's you can crack into the enemies and then make them do terrible things, but it's really hard, and sometimes it's not worth it. But your parents work at this Science Inc. facility, and then one day, like the skies just open up and a bunch of alien ships just blow up the Earth, basically. And so now you're like, well, shit. So you were knocked unconscious and almost dead. And some of the last remaining scientists somehow get a hold of some of the alien nanofield technology, and they augment you with a bunch of alien crap. So now you're tough as nails, and you can jump and fire their weapons and stuff. And you're on a quest. You're trying to save the Earth, or at least do what you can. Like the end of it, the story is really bleak. Through the course of the game, you figure out that like that the Earth is on the brink of just being unsalvageable, and your actions through the game actually decide whether or not the Earth can actually recover from this. And it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of goofy shenanigans stuff you can do to cheat a lot of goofy things out. It's really fun. It is totally free. I will level with you though, the game is ugly as sin. The guy is not an artist. And I don't know why, after 6 years of being one of the best freeware games ever, nobody's approached him and asked them to redo the sprites, but whatever. He's a creative and eccentric type. They're kind of weird. But anyway, that's Ijji. It's a lot of fun. Spelled IJI if anyone's curious.
And I think that actually probably is it.
That is actually it.
Yeah.
Yep. We could watch Rainbow Vomit again.
We could watch. You guys want to watch Rainbow Vomit again?
Sure. Everybody loves Rainbow Vomit.
Alrighty.
If they don't, they need to leave.
So we're gonna go watch Rainbow Vomit again. We're just gonna start the panel again, right?
Yes.
We'll just go over it again for anyone who came in late. It'll be great.
Turn it up.
All right.
Man.
Let's do check by the
This is why we do these panels. It's to show you guys this clip.
Yep. So anyway, that's our panel. If you guys have any questions, want to talk about any games that you guys like that you feel nobody's played, and that need more attention, now would be the time to like shout them at us, and we'll tell you that we probably haven't played them because that's how these go.
No, we'll tell you that we have.
Actually, a lot of times.
But we'd be lying.
I think you'd
Rich
be
wouldn't be
lying.
lying.
I'd be lying.
I'd be lying somewhat. You'd be lying.
Rich wouldn't be lying.
I believe it.
Anyway, so anyone have any games they like?
You guys don't like video games?
I hate them.
You!
Trails of the Damned.
Trails of the Damned is also a game that came out in 2011 that was also very good that nobody played out. Along the lines of Shaddai and Rayman Origins.
Dick jokes.
Dick jokes everywhere.
Dick jokes.
Dude, Suda 51 being Suda 51. And everyone should buy all Suda 51 games. Like Lollipop Chainsaw.
Clover Studio games too.
Oh, so Suda 51's making a game that might be Japanese only, where you play as the president, who's a 16-year-old girl, and you have to pilot a mech to save the world from aliens. The Suda 51 crazy.
We've already played this game. It's called Medal of Chaos.
Well, he's making it for the DS.
Hopefully they learn their lesson and actually port it, because I think it could have been one of the best-selling Xbox games ever. Medal of Chaos.
Anything else anybody has to say?
You games people like, want to talk, say weird things right now.
Chrysalis.
All right.
NES game. Old school. Well, if that's
Das
it,
old school.
you guys are free to go.
Yeah.
We'll be here for a little bit, but not very much. We have to head back home, so
We have to leave.
we have to leave.
Leave this
So,
wonderful Almacon.
What about Metal Arms? You ever tried that one?
I have tried Metal Arms, yes.
Oh, yeah. It's tough at times, but I like it.
It was definitely a lot better than people gave it credit for, I think, but I think it got overshadowed a lot because it kind of came off kiddish, and I think a lot of people just didn't want to try it.
1 and 2.
Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl?
No.
It's like a high fantasy football game.
No, I know what it is.
I have 2 words to describe that game: Dwarven Death Roller. You
Really?
only get it for-
Awesome.
Because it was originally a miniature
Yeah.
game was the thing, and I never could get to the miniature game, so I couldn't try that game.
So Matt's playing Chrono Trigger. That's a pretty good game. If you guys have played
I
it.
just played Chrono Trigger like the entire weekend.
Like, nobody played that game, right?
Right? Don't play Chrono Trigger.
If you haven't played Chrono Trigger, you really should. If you haven't bought Chrono Trigger 3 times, you probably should.
I mean, you buy it technically legally like 6 times now.
Really?
That's pretty crazy.
Super Nintendo, WiiWare, or
About the game
DS.
on the screen, is
Critter
it free
Crunch.
download, or do you have to actually go out and buy the disc?
PlayStation Network download
PlayStation
or
Network download.
iPhone?
You have to pay for it though.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
free.
The only
It's
game
something
that
I would be addicted to.
I think the only free game we talked about was Ijji.
Yeah.
Yeah, but never mind.
Battle Wolf Chaos, kind of.
I forgot Noitu Love is only Noitu Love 1 is, but it's not.
Kind of an obscure one, Jill of the Jungle.
Oh my god, I loved that game as a kid. Yeah! It was so good, and then
I don't remember particularly being impressed by it.
I told the shit on it. Mostly because it was just like, because I was like 6 and I had no idea what was going on. It was really cool.
I'm just gonna mash buttons.
I liked it for that like occasional glitch that would put just a random bridge across an entire span of the screen. It was Epics.
I don't even know.
I think it was like Epic's Mega Games before they took Mega Games out of their title. I can't remember what the hell else they made.
Yeah, maybe. If that's like the same Epic people that made a lot.
Oh, how many of you guys have played Earthbound? Okay, so 4.
See, that's way more than everything else.
That is more than I expected actually. But I think it's less than you expected, right?
Less than I expected, but more than you. So whatever. We both lose.
We both lose. That means Matt wins.
If everyone wants, I can like write a list down of all the games that people actually care about that right now.
I forgot it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like
They're mostly there.
they're mostly there, but like I'll actually make it a notepad.
Sweet. Kind of like we did for animes.
Like actually, they're all right there except System Shock 2 and Dragon Warrior Monsters.
In Jamestown.
What?
In Jamestown.
And Jamestown, so I'm to write Jamestown.
Jamestown.
Yep.
Oh.
That's how it's spelled.
Spelled with a light.
That's a panel.
That's a panel.
That's what you should
Yep.
put on this.
The Jamestown's the easily acceptable one because it's a Steam game, so you could literally go home and buy it right now.
Yeah, you could go home, put like
Oh, man.
$10 in your Steam account and buy it, and
Oh,
everyone would love it. And it's a history lesson for the kids. Slightly inaccurate, but
it's close enough.
It's mostly accurate. You replace Mars with Earth and it's fine.
The best part of the game is the last boss, who is just only known as the Conquistador.
I'm sorry.
Can I see the list?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Jamestown, I was trying to write down the wolf game.
Metal Wolf Chaos.
Metal Wolf Chaos. No. Rainbow Bob might play in the background. I'm going to do nothing to stop it.
I'm not arguing.
Well, apparently I got really mixed up on the list.
What did you touch?
I broke it.
Oh, you put, no, you put it in, what's it called?